going on, fellas? What's going on? What an amazing opportunity another day is. And let's attack. Let's attack. So I want this channel to kind of be about just me being honest and me being open and being as real to myself as I can be. And not trying to, wear a mask or anything like that. And, I want to teach people, of course, and I want people to be able to learn from me and learn from my mistakes. And so I got to be open when I mess up. I got to be open when I mess up. So I just want this channel to be just as open for me as possible and as true to myself and my real personality. Not wear a mask, not front anything. And so, for example, last night I eat a bunch of junk food, right? I eat a bunch of junk food. I go to town. I go to town basically. And from 4 to 6 p.m. I probably have 8,000 calories in a 2-hour time period. And this has maybe been the biggest challenge of my life. I've always just been so all or nothing when it comes to food and yeah. So when it comes to my physique, I'll go on periods where it's amazing. Everything's amazing. I'm looking insane. I'm feeling insane because when I'm on, I'm on. When I'm on, I'm all in. Zero junk food. No calories over what I have to do. Doing everything diligent and militant, and I'm on top of it all. And then there's times when it's the opposite, when I'll have that 8,000 calories in 2 hours, but then do that 3 times a day. No, that's not 24. Maybe 2 times a day, around that 15,000 calorie mark. And so my physique will take big hits at times. And along with the physique, with the junk food comes a lot of other problems. My vision gets worse. My hearing gets worse. I'm operating at a lower level. Everything's slow. Everything's kind of foggy. I'm not as sharp. And so it's not just about the physique. It's about what comes with it. And so last night, I have one of these days, I probably have, 12,000 calories total on the day, but yeah, so it just takes a hit. I wake up today feeling all slow and gross. And so, yeah, like I know the price I got to pay. I've done that enough times to where I know the price that's coming tomorrow. I know the feelings I'm going to have when I wake up. And so these are these decisions that in the moment are small decisions, but drastically affect a lot bigger things than the decision itself. Because that one decision to have one bite of a croissant led to me eating 12,000 calories, which leads to what? Maybe 2 pounds of fat, and then that leads to feeling gross the next day, a bit of regret, a bit of guilt, which are the lowest emotions and things you want to feel. And so the worst thing you can do is really think it's all over. In the past, what I would do is I would think it's all over. I messed up one day, so it's all over. And that's the worst thing that you can do. Because one day, in reality, is not that big of a deal. And one day is not going to ruin everything that you have. So the mindset of you messed up once and letting that affect you for days on end, weeks on end. I've done it where I let it probably last for a month, where every day I was having at least, I hate to say, at least 8,000, 10K calories a day, where I would put on 30 pounds of fat, ruin my physique, and have to start from square one. So the worst mindset that you can have is thinking it's all over. Because once you do that, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because, like I say, let's say maybe we're using food as an example here because that was last night, so it's on my mind today. But with anything, if you let it slip and just say it's over and it's done, it can get dangerous fast because it's not just the food, it's everything else, the unhealthy lifestyle that comes with it. Because, for example, when I would do this for a couple days in a row, you wake up the third day, the fourth, fifth day, and it's easy to skip the gym at that point. It's easy to just wake up with saying, not like stuff doesn't matter that much. So why don't we just keep going in this downhill slope? My tomorrow self, myself in two weeks can deal with this. For now, let's just enjoy ourselves and yeah, we could deal with it when it gets bad enough. That's the worst mindset you can have. And I've been there. So what we do today is we just get back to what we're doing. We get back to what we're doing. I get back to nothing changes. Even at my lowest times, nothing changes, right? That obviously eating a bit of junk food, that's not low times, but you wake up in the morning and you just get right back to it. The same wake up time, I get to the gym. I have a rest day today. I'm going to fast today, which I probably wouldn't recommend. If you mess up, I wouldn't recommend going straight to a fast the next day. But I'm doing about one fast a week, so this is just part of the routine. And yeah, but you just get back to what you're doing. And yeah, your mind's going to tell you regret this, you shouldn't have done this, but you just have to accept it for what it is. There's nothing you could do to change it. So regardless of what you did yesterday, you have to accept it for what it is and get back to work. Understand that you can't change that. You can only learn from that. Okay, you can only learn. So try and find out maybe what triggered it, what made you want to indulge or do this or whatever it is in your case. For me, I've been having dinner at 1 p.m. most days. Dinner at 1 p.m. and I have the majority of my calories 10 a.m. I'd say. So 1 p.m. comes around and I eat the small part, the small meal of the day. I eat 2 meals. So I eat the small meal, the ground turkey or the lean ground beef with maybe honey or some fruit. And so after 1 p.m., you get hungry towards the end. Well, what I do sometimes, for whatever reason, is go on Rappi and start scrolling Rappi or DoorDashes in the States or, these. Sometimes I get lost on these Instagram reels of dudes eating 20 donuts. I don't know, right? And so most times that doesn't affect me. Most times, I just do it and, nothing happens. But maybe once every week or so, I don't want to put a number on it of how often, but every so often I'll lose sight of the big picture. And if I'm scrolling and looking at this junk food and it's 2 p.m. or it's 3 p.m. and I'm starving, sometimes, losing track of the big picture is the worst thing you can do. And that's what I did yesterday. I lost track of the big picture and, in the moment, just, had the junk food. And so I knew the price I was going to pay the next day. I knew the feelings that I would have. And it's exactly what happened today. But, every time you just learn, you learn. So I know I can't feel guilty about it because the last 2 weeks before that, I had insane progress. Insane 2 weeks. So you can't just take a look at the negatives. you have to look at the 2 weeks positive. So overall, right now, even after yesterday, I'm still in a much better, I'm still, the physique's looking a bit better than it was 2 weeks ago, thanks to my past self putting in the work for those 2 weeks. So, I have to think of that as well. You got to think of the wins as well as learning from the quote unquote losses. My, in the moment thinking won yesterday. It beat the big picture. The big picture wins most of the time. So you got to remind yourself that, you're doing some good things. You can't just think about the losses. You got to remind yourself that, yeah, the majority of the time I'm winning. The majority of the time I'm pushing the needle. But in this case, the quick pleasure, the quick dopamine won. So round of applause. You got to give it to him. You got to give it to the quick dopamine. It beat my best self in the moment. So you got to give it to the opponent, if that's how you want to think of it. Because every day that you wake up and you did everything you could the night before, and you stayed on track, you stayed disciplined, you stayed militant, you pay the price by feeling good. You get the reward. You feel good that day. You're ready to attack. And so you got to think of that as well as this morning. You can't help but only be thinking about what you should have done differently the day before. Of course, that's how you're going to feel, because you feel a bit different. But you might be waking up feeling amazing every day, and you don't recognize it because you're not paying attention and because you're not giving yourself the credit for doing the good work. So make sure you're giving yourself the credit for doing the good work. And when these losses come up, like when the opponent wins, when the lower version of yourself beats the purpose-driven and best version of yourself, you gotta learn some things from that as well. So think of the good moments as well as these, learning moments. They're learning moments at the end of the day. Next time I find myself trying to give in to the quick dopamine, I can learn from that moment. Because like I said, I was scrolling and I was looking at the desserts in the area, looking at which ones looked amazing. And, the quick dopamine and the quick, rewards won that day. And so the next time that situation happens, I just got to think back, oh yeah, this is what happened this time. How did I feel the next morning? Well, not good. How was I moving at the gym? Not good. Could I eat the next day? Well, no, but you got to eat less calories. Do I want to do that tomorrow? No. So, right, you get these flashbacks and these memories of when you were in the same position, because you're going to be in the same position over and over until you can prove that you're stronger than it. The temptations don't go away, but they get easier and easier over time. The more and more reps that you put in, the more and more positions you put yourself in to resist the temptation. So basically, I just have to expect that situation to pop up again when I'm wanting the junk food, when I'm wanting the quick fix, when I'm wanting the comfort in the moment, when I'm hungry after my dinner at 1 p.m. and it's that time where the voices in my head are telling me it's not that bad, but then I have to fight back with why I'm doing this in the first place. I have to remember the big picture, and then a minute later the voice fights back again. Dude, just indulge, it's not that bad. And it's these constant battles that you have to keep winning over and over. And the more battles you win, the easier they become. But you got to expect to be in that position again. That breaking point of that quick decision when yesterday I decided to just have a bite of the croissant. What was that moment? You have to think about that moment and go back and study it a bit. So the next time you're in the position, you'll know what to do. you'll remember how you felt the next day, and you'll remember that you lost track of that big picture. And that, at the end of the day, is what's important. So, you pay the price for these decisions. You pay the price, and if you do the good decisions, you reap the benefits the next morning. We all know what it's like after going a couple days or a day of good work, and you wake up the next morning and just ready to go. And ready to go. You feel good. You ate the right things yesterday. You did the work. You did what you were supposed to do. And so the next day, you feel good. And that feeling good might even be just a clear mind, might even be just peaceful mind. Because we know that when you don't do the positive actions like I did yesterday, I had the junk food, that it's just a lot of more voices in the head the next day. When you do the good work, it's kind of a clear mind in the morning, at least for me. The good feeling isn't even, it's just the feeling of no negative voices. And so when these negative voices come up, you know they're going to come up after you did the bad thing or whatever. Then it's just time to learn and to fight back. And to fight back. Okay? Because at the end of the day, we're doing the good work 99% of the time. And that 1% of the time when you slip up, you can't let that get to you. You can't let that get to you. So the next day or right after, you can take control in the moment. For me, it happened to be the next day. Last night, lost control a bit. So the next morning, I get right back to what I have to do. I don't let it affect me. Whenever the voices come in of, man, why'd you do that? You knew you would regret it. How dumb could you be? Then you take control in that moment. You just say, it happened. 99% of the time I do the good work. I messed up 1% of the time. I had a bite of a croissant, turned into a couple thousand calories. It's all right. We're still doing this thing. We're still doing everything we have to do 99% of the time. So let's keep it pushing. Don't let these small losses get to you. This is a lifelong battle. There's going to be ups and downs. And don't let it get to you. Learn from the loss. It's not really a loss. It's a lesson. And so I just want to when I mess up, I gotta let you guys know. I gotta let you guys know because I know people can learn from me. I know people can use that same situation of when the clock is ticking down and I'm starving and I have a quick decision of, should I continue on this purpose-driven path or do I want to let this quick discomfort win? I know people can use that same, these are lifelong battles that everybody has. So I want to be as real as can be and as well share the wins. I need to share the wins, of course, and share the losses. So let's go, baby. Let's go. Keep doing you. Don't let these small losses get to you. And at the end of the day, when you wake up with a peaceful mind, thank your past self because that's due to doing the work that you're supposed to do. Woo.